Good morning, fabulous women. It is Friday morning, and of course, it is the Women Talk Show live right here on Facebook. And today, my guest is Monica Kunzekweguta. No, now I screwed it up.
No, you did well.
No, say it again.
The only funny part is you had to close your eyes to say it.
You say it, and then I'll repeat it.
Kunzekweguta.
Kunzekweguta.
Yes.
Kunzekweguta. And then I panicked. Oh my gosh. And I always have to laugh when people. So Monica is obviously a Women Talk member. She has spoken at my convention and she will be speaking at our Women Talk convention next weekend, Monica. We got 1 week. Woo! Do you have your disco outfit ready yet?
I have.
Yes. I love the women that come to the convention because everybody gets into it. Last year was the masquerade party and it was so beautiful. And this year is Studio 54. Now, for those of you ladies who do not know about Studio 54, it was like, in the disco era, it was one of the best discotheque that ever was happening. All the big names were going there. It was in New York City. It was an incredible place. It was wild. It was crazy. The outfits were outrageous and rich and the big jewelry. Like, it was so much fun. And of course, I turned 54 this year. So I was like, well, let's have a Studio 54 party. Woo!
Are we still having going to dress white?
Yes, so that's for our VIPs. So Friday night, we have an amazing workshop with Andrea J. Lee, and it's about a brand new technique. I think it's from Africa, actually, of using stone mapping as a coaching technique. It's going to be amazing. And then followed by our white party with the bubbles and, all that fun stuff. But today, so Monica is going to be speaking on our stage, and let's start with your book. How many books have you written, Monica?
I have written one solo book, but I have compiled 4.
That's crazy. That's a whole lot of writing. But this one here, Silent Strength, is that by you only?
That's by me only, yes.
So that's a book that you have written. And what's the book about?
The book is basically telling everything about my story from when I was young to where I am right now.
So it's an autobiography?
Yes. It's the journeys, the challenges, and what I have done to overcome those challenges.
So let's talk a little bit about your story. So you are, I want to know about your story of becoming an immigrant in Canada, because it can be a very, very tough journey, and you are still in the middle of this journey. So tell me a little bit about your journey of becoming an immigrant in Canada.
Okay. I lived in the UK for 21 years, and even though I had always wanted to come to Canada, I did not have the, you get the fears that, I have a mortgage, I have the job, and you get comfortable, and you keep holding back on taking that step to move towards your dream or what you want to do. And then I met someone, and he convinced me to come to Canada. And I thought, you know what? Let me take this chance. It is life anyway. Let me go join him. And I came here. So because I came under his wing, he was sponsoring me for my immigration papers. Unfortunately, the relationship was not a good one. It was packed with infidelity. It was packed with nastiness. The form of abuse I never thought existed.
Wow.
And also I started getting abuse, not just from him, but from other women. The women who thought that they were not being with him because of me. And
Now, did you get married to him?
I did.
So that your paper would go faster as well, right?
Yes. And also it was genuine on my part.
Yeah, like you really loved them, and then
I cared,
but
yes. And the women, they would they would attack my profession. They would threaten to ruin me professionally. If they said something and maybe I answered back, they'll be like, "What sort of a life coach speaks like that?" And you just find that it's not just one person. I was getting abuse from Jamaica, from the UK, from the US, and these are people I had never met in my whole life. And at home, I'm being accused of cheating and all that, and so it's like I never had a break. So I thought, you know what? Yes, I am in this position, but I'm not going to stay in this position. I am going to leave, even though I knew that leaving him would mean that my application would be withdrawn.
like how difficult? Like, what did you do to? Because here's a man that you love, that you marry, and you move here with him, and now you find out that he's not what you thought he was. And if you leave him, you're going to have issues with your new country. How do you go about managing that?
You seek advice, seek legal advice, and I think I was actually horrified that the advice that I got mostly was to stick it up until the documents were processed. And I worked in mental health for almost 20 years. And I knew that if you allow yourself to be stressed too much, you end up getting depressed. And you might end up having mental health challenges like PTSD or whatever, something that you will never come back to. And so I decided to choose my well-being instead of insisting. It wasn't important. I'm already a British citizen, so it's not as if I was going to go back to maybe a war-torn zone if I was to leave this country. I come from Zimbabwe. It's not as if I burnt the family home. I still have a loving family back home. There is no need for me to be to subject myself to any abuse of any kind. And so I said to him, I wanted him to leave.
So legally, how does that look like? So, so if you divorce someone, like what's the procedure? So you find out that he's not the person you thought he was, and have you divorced him yet, or?
Yes.
So the moment you divorced him, then what happens?
The moment you divorce, you're on your own.
But I mean more like legally as an immigrant, right? Like, so does the government step in? Like, do they stop all? Like, do you have to move out, like out of the country? Like, what happens?
No, you stay for the duration of your visitor's visa or your work permit or whatever, and then after that you need to work out what you want to do. You can reapply, but because you've already been denied, because that has been cancelled, it makes your application a little bit more challenging. So you find that you are in a position which you never thought you would be in. You what's the word? You have, for the time that you've been here, you've established yourself. You have formed relationships. You have formed a life. You're not even thinking that, oh, I'm only going to stay here for 2 years and then go back. You had moved here, and now you either decide to switch and say, I am going back, or I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure that my life here works.
So you do want to stay in Canada,
Yes, I do.
even if it's going to snow this weekend?
I've gotten used to the snow, but I tell you what warms all that up is the people. It's the relationships, which surpasses anything that the snow might bring.
So you've lived in Africa, you've lived in England, and now you're in Canada. What is it about Canada that makes you want to make Canada your home as opposed to Africa or England?
Canada is got people who are very welcoming. It doesn't matter which nationality they are. And I think it's something that as a culture, Canadians are. They welcome you, they love you, you feel, when the connection is genuine, you feel it.
Yeah, I think we're warm. I think Canadians are
very
warm people.
You are a warm people, and that is one. Two, it's spacious.
Lot of room here. Don't go to the mountains if you don't have a compass.
Yes.
Just a little piece of advice. We'll never see you again. I was actually told that for some people, like, if you're from China or a very highly populated country, or India, or maybe England, even, like, when you come here, like, this wide open space can be a little bit intimidating.
For me, because Zimbabwe is spacious, you can go for drives and it's open. So there is that part that reminds me of home. Yes.
Beautiful. So whatever got you involved in coaching and writing books? Like, what was your journey? Have you always been a writer, or what got you there?
I think I've always been a writer, but because that skill, that talent was not nurtured. I remember in school, our teacher, one of our English teachers, used to send us outside for like 5-10 minutes to just write anything and not write our names on the piece of paper. And then we would go back in class and he would ask all of us to hand in their papers, and he would read those stories and ask the class which story they thought was the best. And always mine was the best.
Oh, wow. So you were born with that gift.
I think it has always been there, but it was not nurtured.
How are writers perceived in Africa? Female writers, is it very rare? Is it, like, how are they perceived?
The female writers are respected, but I wish there could be more writers. I wish not just female, but male writers too, because people don't realize that the word author means authority. And you have authority in the subject matter that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people have got authority in their subject matter, but or whatever subject that they deal with or work on, but they do not share that in writing.
Not everybody has the gift, but here's the thing that a lot of people don't realize. You do not need to be a good writer. You do not need to be a good speller, because there's all the people around you before your book comes out that they will fix all that up for you.
Absolutely, they are editors. And you also have, there are people who are just sitting there waiting for you to give them their book, to give them your audio, so that they could ghost write your story.
What was it like to grow up in Africa as a little girl?
I had a happy childhood, and a little bit of that. It was difficult when I stayed with my stepmom. but mostly my childhood was happy. And it came to a point where my family joined a church which did not allow the girl child to go to school. That was when I had not a little bit, I think I'd say huge challenges. I had huge
Yeah.
challenges, yes, because I wanted to go to school. I wanted to go to university. I had that exposure already before getting into that church. And so when I got into that church and um, I had men asking me out at such a young age that they wanted to marry me, I didn't want that. And so I
Mm.
had to escape being kidnapped at some point.
Is that the story you're a part of the story you're sharing at the convention?
It is part of it. I think that is
Because
where my
that's a great, I've heard your story, and it's just mind boggling as a Canadian woman that this sort of things happen to young girls. And does it still happen in Africa? Do you know?
I think it still happens in not just Africa,
Around the world.
yeah, around the world. We hear a lot of um, child brides in other communities.
And I think we have them here in Canada as well. I mean, there's been a few, you know, crazy little parts, groups, and girls
Yes.
are forced into marriage.
So what's mind-boggling is that communities, they talk so much about child trafficking. What is child trafficking? When we are ignoring something that is happening in our backyard.
Hmm. Are you aware of any girls being forced into marriage in Canada?
No, I'm not. But the reason why I'm saying backyard, I'm saying in different communities. You might
Hmm.
actually find them watching the news and they're talking, and on the news there's something about child trafficking. Yet in their household, there is a child who was married off very young, and they don't think it's child trafficking because they accepted dowry from this older man who's taking maybe a 14-year-old. So I think we have double standards in what we choose to fight or the words we choose to use in protecting young girls.
Hmm. Yeah, like it's just so sad. I can't even imagine. My daughter just turned 13. How old were you when they were trying to marry you off?
It started from about 13. When I was in boarding school, these men used to come and visit, and they were all strangers. I didn't know them. I would just hear someone saying, "You have a visitor waiting for you at the gate."
So
Uh,
what would you do? Like, would they talk to you? Would you talk to them? What would you do when that happened?
I would pretend we were related. So before I approached them, I would go, "Hey, uncle!"
And why did you do that? So that the other girls didn't know?
I didn't want the other girls to know that I was having visitors I was being visited by older men. I didn't want them to know that I belonged to this church. I didn't want to be bullied because it's quite easy to be bullied over certain things.
Hmm.
And so I just pretended. I think I lived with a mask for a very long time.
Wow. I can't even imagine. You know, I look at my daughter now and oh, the mama bear comes out of me. Like it is just, I'm so glad our society is growing. There's a lot more work to be done. And I am so grateful that I'm in Canada, although I'm sure it does happen here too. It has to be probably a little bit more hidden than it is in other
Mm.
countries.
I must, I
So,
must, sorry, go ahead.
so what did that do to you as a grown woman to have gone through this? Are you like, did it affect your relationship with men? Like how did you heal that part of you?
I think the healing process takes a very long time. I might think that I have healed or I'm totally healed, and that there's still something that is there that I'm not aware of.
So
But
what did that do to you to have a husband who then cheated on you? Because I mean, it affects, you know, you were so young, it would have affected you. So now having to deal with this man who's, you know, hurting you, like, what do you do to keep sane? And
I think, well, this is where I am grateful for that experience of running away, because I take myself back to think that when I was 17, when I was 14, 15, 16, 17, I wouldn't allow myself to be put in a situation where I would do what I didn't want to do. So how does it make sense that I'm older and I'm a woman and allow myself to be subjected to something that I don't want? And this is the tool that's in my toolbox always, that I take myself back. And I think that little girl taught me so many lessons, and that little girl is the one which has brought in some serious resilience in me.
wow, that is just, it's such a fabulous story. So if you would like to join us at the convention, let's come out. So we have like 13 speakers. It's going to be an amazing, amazing weekend. Monica, now our VIP tickets are kind of over. We might be able to sneak one or two, but you can now come for the weekend where you can hear Monica's full story of what she's going to share. And you are such a fabulous woman, such a great example for other women. So the weekend is $197. Now, I have an incredible deal. If you do not have your ticket already, message me and I have a fabulous deal. It will knock your socks off because we still have a few tickets and I want to fill up the room because it's going to be such a good time. We're going to have our white party. We're going to have our Studio 54 party. It is going to be a fabulous time. So if you would like to find out what this secret deal is, message me.
Message Bridget. She will give you all the details.
And Monica, thank you very much. Now, we've put the link to your website if you would like to read Monica's story, Silent Strength. And you can find her on Facebook, on her website, obviously, and all over. Monica is a fabulous speaker. She has a beautiful soul, and you are an amazing, strong woman.
Thank you, Bridget. But before I go, I remember you saying, don't leave your audience on the floor.
Oh, but you have a great life now.
I have a great life now. Yeah, I just wanted to say that the running away that I did encouraged other parents to send their daughters to school. So even though there are still some who are getting married young, but I have a trail of doctors, lawyers, and accountants who came from that same church.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, yeah, so you help change the world a little bit. Everybody does a little bit. We all do a little bit of our part. And really, there's fabulous men that are supporting us. But I believe we as women need to really stand solid in protecting our little girls.
Yes, for sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining me, Monica. And thank you, everyone, for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Convention.
Woo! It's going to be such a good time. I can't wait to hear all the stories and all the fun. womentalk.ca/convention, and message me, Facebook, email me, Bridget@womentalk. You can see I'm everywhere. Message me and I'm going to give you an amazing secret deal to come to take you to the convention. Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching. Bye, Monica.
Bye-bye.